I've tested a lot of Shark cordless and upright vacuums, and overall, I think they're really good. However, Shark recently released a brand new robot. It's their PowerDetect Never Touch Pro 2-in-1 mopping robot. Now this is their flagship robot, and normally it's about $9.99. However, recently I've seen it on their website and on the Amazon website for about $6.99 or less. So while it's more affordable, I've been testing it and I found 5 things that I've learned about the brand new Shark robot. Shark sent me this unit for review, however they're not paying me, and this video is definitely not sponsored. Now the first thing you need to know is this has got some features I've never seen on a robot vacuum before. Let's start with this Never Touch base. They say that you can go 60 days without doing any kind of maintenance. I'm not sure about that, but we'll get to that in a moment. But it does have 3 unique features I've never seen in a robot vacuum before. Let's start off with the odor neutralizer. It smells a bit like laundry detergent, and you put it in here somehow. It's not really obvious to me how exactly it locks in. So for now, we're just gonna leave it like that and continue the review. The next thing I'd never seen before is that this has multiple filters, which is really nice. You can take these out, you can wash them. There's one down here. And it's also got a HEPA filter, which I think is washable as well. Very cool technology. The next thing is that it has no replaceable filter bag. This whole unit pops out and it should last about 60 days. The dirt goes in here, and then you can just dump this out in the trash. That is really cool. Cat hair. Now, like most robots, you've got a clean water tank and a dirty water tank. And that's really cool and it's typical, but my question is, can this really last 60 days without replacing the water? I'm a little skeptical. Most robots require that you replace the water tank about once a week if you're vacuuming every second day. And while this isn't unique, I do appreciate the fact that you can see exactly how much water it's got in it without having to look at the app or actually take the tank out. And same thing with the dirty water side. And like other robot vacuums, it has auto dirt emptying, it has auto mop washing, it has auto mop drying, and it seems to be pretty low touch aside from that. Another cool feature that it has, which we're gonna test in a moment, is the Never Stuck technology. This robot is able to lift itself up, kind of like the Roborock Q-Robo Curve, and apparently get over obstacles like socks and things in your room, and even get over thresholds. The second thing you need to know is that mopping performance is kind of a mixed bag. Looking at the base, it has a vibrating pad style mop. It has a brush roll in the center, which has alternating rows of sort of a solid material and actual brushes. We're gonna see how anti-tangle this is in a minute. And it has a single side brush. It also has a canister which holds the dirt. There's another filter here which I like. The mop pad comes off if you need to clean it, and it looks like it wets the mop through 4 different nozzles. And this whole piece also holds the onboard water tank. Comes with this bottle of Shark Vac Mop fluid. You simply put this in the clear water container and you fill it up to this lower line, and the rest you fill up with water from your tap. The first thing we're gonna do is a mopping test, but first I wanna clean up the floor to make sure there is no dirt on it. We're gonna put a little bit of soy sauce on the floor. Next, we're gonna set up the app to clean this specific area. I'm gonna set it to mop only because that is one of the only options. You've either got mop only or vacuum. So I set it up to clean this area around the stain, and it seems to be doing this sort of dance where it stops, it spins around, and it continues. I'm not quite sure exactly what the strategy is here, but ultimately after a couple minutes, it did mop up the entire bit of soy sauce. This is what the mop pad looks like afterwards. It is gray, so it's kind of difficult to see the soy sauce on here, but I can smell the soy sauce. We're letting it go back to the base station to wash the mop, and then we're gonna check the pads afterwards.
Starting to wash my pad.
Let's check the floor with a clean paper towel and see if it left anything behind or not. And looking at the paper towel, it looks like it got most of it, but it did leave a little bit of residue behind. That's pretty typical for a lot of mopping robots. The base station did use a lot of water to clean it, and it looks pretty clean afterwards. It is quite wet. The mop pad has got a lot of water in it, but it does look like it did a pretty good job of cleaning it up. Now it does have auto mop drying, however, it is not hot air, and considering how wet the mop pad is, I think this is going to take quite a few hours to dry the mop pad. We checked the sound levels while it was mopping, and we measured it at about 60 to 63 decibels. That's about as loud as a normal office conversation. Overall, it's pretty average for noise. It's not the quietest, it's also not the loudest. When emptying the onboard canister at the base station, it was quite loud, which again is pretty typical for most robot vacuums. We tested to see how close the PowerDetect would clean next to table legs. It wasn't fast, but it did a fairly thorough job, and jets of air helped move cat hair out of the corners. So mopping performance around table legs is kind of a mixed bag in this tight space. It didn't really get up to the edge of the baseboard over here, it kind of left a dry spot, but it did get over here, and the table legs were a little bit inconsistent. It got close to some of them, but it didn't get that close to some of the other ones. And again, it left a big spot over here. So it seems to be a little bit random how it's dealing with the table legs. Doesn't seem like it had much of a plan. Now, the third thing you need to know is that obstacle avoidance and navigation are not class leading. The Shark has never stuck technology, which sounds really promising. Now, it doesn't have a camera on it, so I'm kind of wondering how it's going to handle our obstacle course. Most flagship robots use a combination of a camera and a LiDAR system, which both work together to aid in obstacle avoidance and navigation. However, the Shark only uses LiDAR. It does have a very clever chassis lift technology where the wheels lift up and it's able to raise the rear end of the robot and get over obstacles. So we're gonna see how that works too. Let's check it out. On our obstacle course today, we've got a paper towel, we've got 2 bits of fake pet poop, we got a shoe, a book, a remote control, and we got a power cord, which is very difficult for most robots. Okay, I had to pause the test because it looks like it got stuck in the paper towel, but let's let it continue. After the obstacle course test, it decided to leave the room where it was working in, and now it's way over here. I'm not really sure why that is. Oh, it's made its way back around to the obstacle course again, so I guess it's going for another pass. Shark says its lift technology should allow it to go over socks. However, in our testing, it didn't really seem to see the sock. Okay, obstacle performance. I think the results kind of speak for themselves. It has 360-degree LiDAR, and it doesn't really detect objects other than the book and the shoe and the remote control. To its credit, it didn't get stuck. But what about the app? The fourth thing that you need to know is that the app is limited. Now the app looks really good and it has some fun things like you can name your robot. So I named this one Clean Latifah. And it does do a pretty good job of finding the big objects in your room and mapping them out. That was a box that I had earlier. I removed the box, but here are the 2 tables. Now, in terms of zone cleaning, it could use some improvement. If you want to clean a zone, you've only got this square area here, so that's not great. You can set it to clean a room in your house, which I guess is kind of good, so you can kind of set different rooms, which is what I've been using, although it could be better. When you want to start cleaning something, you hit the clean button, and you have a choice of either vacuuming or mopping, but that's it. Those are your 2 choices. If you want to do multiple floors, well, you can't. It will only do 1 floor. So if you have multiple floors in your house, I guess you need to send it down and remap. In terms of settings, there's nothing here in terms of settings. There are essentially no options at all. You can't pick vacuum and then mop or mop and then vacuum. You can't adjust suction power. So it's a very, very basic app. One other thing that I noticed, which I'm not seeing right now, is that sometimes the app just disconnects completely, so you need to reconnect it. So, yeah. One more thing I noticed with the app is that it has just finished mopping, and I want it to wash the mop pads. But in the app, there's no control for the dock separately, so that's kind of a thing. So I don't know how to get it to wash the mop pads. The 5th thing that you need to know is that pickup performance is good, but there are some caveats. We're gonna test pickup performance on carpet by spreading 20 grams of sand everywhere, but there's a bit of an issue. This is the app, and normally when I test pickup performance, I can set a specific area, like a spot area. So normally I would set it right over here, but this spot area is fixed, I cannot change the size of it at all. So I don't think it's gonna cover the entire carpet. I'm gonna do my best. Let's see how much we picked up. A lot of sand in there, a little bit of cat hair. I've tested it twice now. First time it picked up 85%, this time it picked up 80%. I'm gonna go with 80% because I think I had a little bit of extra cat hair and stuff the first time. So 80%, which is a okay score, not bad. This does have dirt detect technology and it's supposed to sense when there's dirt and pick up the suction. I didn't hear any increase in suction, but I did see it go back and forth a little bit more over this dirty area. However, 80% pickup on carpet for a flagship robot is not quite with the pace. That's more for a mid-price robot. That's typically an okay score for something that is under $1,000. One thing that's really cool is that when it detects carpet, automatically it leaves behind the mop pad in the base station. So that means it's not gonna get water on your carpet. That's a great feature. We're about to do our hardwood pickup test where again, I dump 20 grams of sand onto hardwood and then we see how much it picks up. But the problem is the app, once again. I can't tell it to do anything more than just go ahead and clean. I can't tell it to use maximum suction. I can't tell it to use 2 passes. It's just gonna do what it's going to do. Let's see how much it picked up. Here's all the sand. That is 100%, which is exactly what I would expect for a flagship robot on hardwood. It does an okay job in corners. The brush does not extend out like some other models, and after vacuuming this area, it did leave a little bit behind, but I think it's not bad. So it has edge detect technology, and you can see a little puffs of air that are blowing the cat hair out of the way. How good a job did it do? Picked up most of it. Not all of it. Next, we're doing the anti-tangle test. I've got a mix of 6-inch hair and 10-inch hair. We're gonna let it run through this area, and then we're gonna check the bottom of it and see if it got tangled up or not. So just finished this area and you can see there is definitely a bunch of hair that got tangled up in here. They don't claim that it's anti-tangle, so I guess that's kind of what you get. Not a huge deal, but I think you probably need to maintain this on a fairly regular basis if you have a lot of pet hair or a lot of human hair in your house. So is it worth $1,000? Well, I think there are some other robots on the market at that price point that have better features and performance. However, it does have some features I've never seen in any other robot vacuum. First, there are no bags to buy. It's got a HEPA filter and multiple filters on the base station along with the odor neutralizer technology. That's really cool. And to its credit, the never stuck technology actually works. It never got stuck. However, pickup performance is just average on carpet. It's pretty good on hardwood. Mopping performance is pretty good a lot of the time, but it doesn't always get right up to the edge like they promise that it does. The dirt detect technology actually seems to work. However, it doesn't really improve pickup performance on carpet, where the suction power seemed to be just about average for a mid to lower priced vacuum. The app is frankly extremely limited in what you can do, and obstacle avoidance performance is really not very good at this price point. Again, it's acceptable for a lower to mid-price vacuum, but at this price point, it should be avoiding obstacles much better. However, if you can find it for $6.99 or less, which is the sale price, it definitely is worth considering. If you want to see my top mopping robots, check this link right over here. If you want to see the top affordable robots, check out this one.